Jason Giulietti on the Intro to Texas Innovation Corridor keynote. He's the president of the San Marcos Greater Partnership.
Beautiful. Good morning, everybody. Excellent. Thank you for having us join Digital 360. Andreas, thank you again for the partnership. I'm here to share a little story and talk a little bit about where you sit right now, which is home to the Texas Innovation Corridor. I'll give you a quick 2 seconds on who we are as an organization, certainly what we do for our communities that sit in the Texas Innovation Corridor, and how we collaborate with Cedar, Texas State University, Dean Haley, and all the amazing things happening there. It's truly an amazing place to be, and to have partners like Texas State. What you just saw up there is amazing. And I know, this is not a new concept. There's plenty of universities out there that have programs like this that have been around for a long time. But what I'll tell you is it's amazing to be where you guys are right now, because you're able to overlay what you just shared for the future. Other programs are scrambling to figure that out. How do they get that in? You guys are birthing it here. So we're excited to be a recipient of that, and certainly to help our communities through this. So just a quick run through of what I'll cover here. And I'll start with talking about who the partnership is. So the Greater San Marcos Partnership is a public-private partnership founded just over 10 years ago on the whole idea that the region in between Austin and San Antonio is going to grow over time. The city of Austin, city of San Antonio had been growing exponentially over quite a period of time, but the region in between, such a short window, right, an hour between two of these major cities, was destined to grow. And the partnership, through the business community and the public sector, decided we need to form a partnership to basically really help narrate and curate what we want to be in the future. Rather than let development happen to us, let's control our destiny. And not by having each community do it on their own, but let's bring all the communities together under one umbrella to truly make this a collaborative effort and one of scale that can be impactful. So that's what gave birth to the partnership. So we were formed as a nonprofit and sit today with about 135 public and private sector investors. We have very unique relationships. We have some contract relationships where we are the economic development department for some communities. Where we sit here in the city of San Marcos, we are their economic development department. Our team of 9 individuals provides full services to the community. We do the same for the counties, both at Hays and Caldwell County. Sitting Hays County right here and just to our east of Caldwell County, we're their contractors. And the rest of the communities we represent, we're there as extensions of their team. We're there to help provide additional services, to make sure we're attracting business to our region, we're growing businesses that are already here, and we're servicing the needs they have in workforce and other things. As I mentioned, we're driven by a strategy. I mentioned that here, and you'll see that at the last part of the slide, a strategy called Vision 2025. This strategy for us took more than 80 steering committee members that were involved. Texas State was heavily involved in that, of course, but our public sector partners and private sector partners spent the majority of 2020. COVID really helped extend that timeline, but it allowed us to really think through what we want to look like 5 years from now, and laid out a path taking COVID into account on what Central Texas will look like 5 years from now. And it's not just a plan that goes to sit on a shelf. This plan literally is one we develop annual goals, and we solicit the community, all aspects of the community, in helping us achieve those goals annually. So we've just finished up year 1, and I'm proud to report we are just about at 100% of achieving those goals with just a few weeks left of our fiscal year. And we're about to launch and announce year 2 goals. The great part is this strategy lays out 80 plus goals for us to achieve. And periodically throughout these 5 years, we're gonna have auditors come back and tell us, did we do this? It's not, like I said, it's a live, active plan that we want to be accountable to make sure we're moving the needle for Central Texas. So I encourage you, if you'd like more information, our website has a live interactive graphic that you can click on alongside with the strategy and all the details to go with it. So it's exciting to share kind of what we're going to look like in 5 years. Giving you some sense on when I say the Texas Innovation Corridor, what does it mean? Well, we're sitting in Hays County, and if you read the news lately, Hays County, noted by the census, is the fastest growing county in the country. So the growth in this region of people finding us and businesses finding us is no longer a secret. It is very significant. And with that, we need to really be prepared for that growth in all ways. So what you guys are doing here at Cedar and what you guys are doing certainly is going to address a challenge we will face, some of which we're facing now, and some into the future on how we continue to sustain the growth we're seeing. But when we say Innovation Corridor, what you see in the graphic up above is a region of several counties that really represent Central Texas, going to the north just shy of Waco and going to the south of San Antonio. It's a very distinctive part of Texas because of the growth and because of the I-35 corridor that runs right through the middle of us. It has a very significant population. As you can see in the numbers up above, the Texas Innovation Corridor right now represents just shy of 4.7 million people. Significant amount of people when you think about a labor force. That labor force translates to about 2.4 million people. And right now, as many of you know in the business world, this is the biggest challenge that we have as a business community, is to find qualified labor and to find talent. Well, we're proud to say that we have that labor pool here. We have the fourth largest university in the state of Texas doing the innovation that was just mentioned to provide not only that asset, but the people to make businesses successful here in Central Texas. So we really see this as a tremendous opportunity. We've seen the success and we're continuing to see the success. As we mentioned, Texas State really is that anchor. They're the anchor of this Texas Innovation Corridor for what you just heard and many other things. The School of Science and Engineering is one of several really innovative and creative programs happening at the university that's helping drive new talent, helping drive people here, and ultimately workforce to our communities. But what also makes up this Texas Innovation Corridor is patent activity. Something I know every time I share it, it really gets people's heads scratching because it's amazing to see what's happening here in this region. Noted on that second bullet, you can see that our patent activity is 11 times that of Texas in this corridor and 9 times that of the United States. Now, certainly you would think immediately the university sitting right here should be, right, the majority of that. Well, yes, they're a contributor, but they're not that tier one where you would typically see patent activity at very significant levels, but they're going that way. But what also we're finding is the type of companies coming to this region are strengthening and underlining why we're the Texas Innovation Corridor. We have companies coming here, bringing innovative ideas and doing things and generating patents and new ways of doing business and new processes, new programs and new output at levels that rival, again, what you see around the country. So we're truly home to what we call industry disruptors. We have companies here, one sitting just behind us over here, for example, called Urban Mining. They do rare earth minerals. So what a rare earth mineral is you go out there and they are necessary ingredients to things like semiconductors, really important pieces. Well, they're all mined right now out in Asia, and it's an extremely environmentally damaging process. Well, these guys do it right here through harvesting motherboards of old computers, other things. They literally go back and repurpose those things. They're the only company in the entire United States doing that. Necessary output to the military, to the electric vehicle segment that's growing so significantly, and they're right here in the US. So you can imagine the demand that's on those guys from the military and other applications, but they're here, and they called San Marcos in Central Texas, and ultimately the Innovation Corridor home. So excited to share some of these examples. And alongside that, we're seeing tremendous levels of investment. I will share for perspective, last year, in the year of COVID, all things that was and obviously continues to be, the partnership finished the best year in its history. And we were able to accomplish bringing 6 new businesses into our region with new jobs and investment. Well, this year, we're 3 weeks away from the end of our fiscal year. We are now, and we just announced this past week, our 13th deal of the year. So you can see the growth is not just significant, it is exponential in terms of what we're seeing. The magnitude of this is translated through, we measure everything, looking at capital investment. You know, as a business, looking at the level of activity that wants to spend resources in our community to build a business, expand a business, grow a business. Last year, with that record-setting year, we had $6 billion of capital looking at our region to grow and expand. Well, this year, we're just shy of $40 billion looking at Central Texas as an opportunity. That's brand new money just for this year looking at Central Texas. So the magnitude of what we're seeing and the alignment of what we're seeing in the Texas Innovation Corridor is no longer a secret, and certainly one that we know will continue to grow. And with the purposeful work on intentionality around attracting companies and growing companies that are here, I think we'll see a lot more news coming from this region. And again, just perspective, one thing we often share with companies that are looking at our region or looking to grow here is the map above. If you've ever been an economic developer, you've seen this kind of map before. We all like to talk about different drive times and so forth, but what's more impactful is where we sit here in Texas. As you can see, San Marcos, sitting in the center of the innovation corridor, literally Center Point Road right here is the center point between Austin and San Antonio. So fun fact to use out there, it literally is the middle. And using that as the middle, you can see within a 30-minute radius, give or take, you can be in 2 major international airports. There's not many other parts of the country that can say that. And then a 45-minute radius, which ultimately truly in Texas means drive time, you can tap talent well beyond the borders of Austin and San Antonio. And it's a tremendous driver for us and attraction for us when we talk about attracting companies to the region. And then the other asset we certainly love to tout, and one that we think is going to have tremendous potential in the short term, is the San Marcos Airport. We are home to an old World War II airport, like many communities in the country. What's unique about ours is we offer 3 different runways that can ultimately, with a little investment that we're working on, start to service significant cargo. It's important to note, because this just got announced through their new master plan, and with the levels of investment by companies like Amazon, who have just shy of 5 million square feet of space just in Hays County, the potential of that airport to take off in a way, truly pun intended, to take off in a way that is going to be impactful to this community can't go without saying. So something we always like to highlight to folks to look out for. Just to give you a sense of those 13 companies we mentioned, one of which we just announced 2 days ago, I believe it was, which is Cooperative Laundry. These guys, you may say a laundry company. What do they do? Well, they're a robotic laundry company, one of the only ones in the country that use robots to service the hotel industry and restaurant hospitality industry. This was an East Coast company that was servicing the majority line share of the Manhattan market, which, as you know, Manhattan, one of the largest cities in the country, and certainly one that has plenty of hotel and retail and hospitality industry. Well, they came down to us and said, look, we're looking at numbers, your population growth, and in the city of Austin alone, there's more hotel rooms, despite COVID, going up in Austin than all of Manhattan. So if you think about perspective, it's unbelievable what's happening out in our region. So they came down and said, we have to be here. And they found out that there's no other company in the marketplace outside of north of Dallas that services that industry. So they came down here and have just planted a flag and took 85,000 square feet and are going to hire north of 150 people right here in our community. But beyond that, you can see the diversity of what's finding us home. Amazon announced their single largest facility in Central Texas, just north of us, that'll be operational in about 2 weeks, just in time for the holiday season. Our neighbors right behind Embassy Suites here, a company called Good Blend. They are one of 3 licensed medical marijuana providers. And they're doing all ends. They're going to be building a campus here. Their campus is going to be everything from growth to the R&D and production of medical marijuana. They have average salaries rivaling 6 figures. Think about how transformational that is for a county that has an average wage of about $44,000. So these investments are significant and certainly changing the landscape of what we have. The last one I'll share is Iron Ox right there in the middle. They just announced and are under construction right now of a 500,000 square foot facility in Lockhart, a community just to our east. They're a robotic farming company. So coming out of California, they figured out how to basically use robots to grow product and are in HEB now. So those of you that are local and know HEB, they're there growing product already and in that community, but they're going to be growing at scale now and diversifying into more fruits and vegetables grown locally and through the work of robots. Again, things we would not have seen before, but these type of companies that are innovating are why we are the Texas Innovation Corridor. So excited to share some of that with you. So with all that said, I am happy to take any questions anybody has. I know that was brief, but certainly we are here to help industry. We're here to help the business community, certainly collaborate with Texas State, who are one of our founding partners and certainly one of the greatest assets we have here in Central Texas. So any questions anybody has? Seeing none, thank you very much. My contact information is here if anybody does have questions. Thank you.